Modern buildings, built with all the latest plans, often can't stand up to a truly bad windstorm. Walls rip, roofs vanish. Yet, a few miles away, an old Amish farm, simple and plain, doesn't even shake. Both face the same brutal winds. One holds, one breaks. This isn't just luck. It's a way of building that modern thinkers forgot. So what's going on here? How can a simple wooden barn outlast a building made with all the latest tech? It's not an accident. It's a completely different way of thinking about how to build something. Modern construction often focuses on meeting the minimum code and using materials that are just good enough. It's about efficiency and cost. But for Amish builders, it's about something else entirely. They're not using complex blueprints or computer-aided design. They're using knowledge passed down through generations. It's about building something to last, not just for now, but for their children and their grandchildren. They focus on the details, using high-quality, solid wood, making sure every joint is strong, and relying on simple, time-tested designs that have proven they can stand up to just about anything. It's a craft, not just a job. So in this video, we're going to break down exactly what makes these buildings so tough. We'll look at the specific techniques, from the foundation up to the roof, that allow an Amish farm to stand strong while everything else gets blown away. Alright, so where does that incredible strength come from? You might think the first step is choosing the perfect spot on the land, maybe tucking the farm behind a hill or planting a big line of trees to act as a natural wall against the wind. And while the Amish are smart about where they build, their real first line of defense is something totally different. It isn't about blocking the wind, it's about meeting it head on. The strength is built directly into the DNA of their structures from the very beginning. Take their iconic pole barns. The entire design is based on a simple, powerful idea. Instead of building a frame on top of a concrete slab, they sink large, solid wooden poles deep into the ground. These poles act like anchors, creating a foundation that's incredibly stable and connected directly to the earth. When a powerful gust of wind hits a modern building, it pushes against the walls, and all that force travels down to where the walls meet the foundation. That's often the weakest point. But with a pole barn, that force is spread out. It travels down the walls and into those deep-set poles, which then transfer the stress safely into the ground. It's a design that doesn't just resist the wind, it works with it. And it's not just the design, it's the materials. They're not using the bare minimum 2x4s you'd find at a big box store. They use thicker, heavier wood for the framing. Every joint is cut with precision and reinforced, making sure the entire structure acts as one solid unit. It's a huge amount of upfront work, but it's why these buildings don't just warp, crack, or fall apart after a few years of bad weather. They're built with the expectation that they'll need to stand for 20, 30, or even more years, ready for whatever the sky throws at them. The defense isn't something they add on. It's the very core of how they build. So let's get into the nitty-gritty of how this actually works. This style of building is called post-frame construction, and the secret is right there in the name. The entire structure is built around those massive posts. Think about a normal building. You have a concrete foundation, then you build walls on top of it, and those walls hold up the roof. The walls are doing a ton of work, but in an Amish pole barn, it's those deep-set posts that carry the load. This one change has a huge effect. It means you don't need a bunch of interior walls just to keep the roof from caving in. You can have these huge, wide-open spaces inside that are incredibly strong, because the real strength isn't in the walls. It's in the skeleton of posts buried deep in the ground. And then there's the philosophy behind how they put it all together. A modern builder often uses software to calculate the absolute minimum amount of material needed to pass inspection. It's all about efficiency. The Amish approach is the complete opposite. You won't see them plugging numbers into a computer. Their calculations are based on generations of trial and error. It's experience, not equations. They have a rule of thumb for everything, and that rule is almost always build it stronger than you think it needs to be. They use wood that's thicker and heavier than standard. The framing is often oversized, and every joint is cut to fit perfectly. There's a level of craftsmanship here that you just don't see in mass-produced buildings. This creates a structure that's not just rigid and strong, but also has a bit of strategic flex. When a 70-mile-per-hour gust of wind slams into the side, the building doesn't just sit there and take the hit like a brick wall, which could crack under the pressure. Instead, the whole frame works as one cohesive unit. It absorbs the energy, lets the force travel through that sturdy, interconnected skeleton, and safely channels it down into the earth. It's a system designed to bend, not break. It's not fighting the storm, it's built to outlast it. But that raises a huge question. If they aren't using modern blueprints or computer models, How do they get it so right? The answer is simple, but powerful. The blueprint isn't on paper. It's passed down from one generation to the next. This is knowledge earned through centuries of trial and error. A modern architect learns from a textbook. An Amish builder learns from his father, who learned from his father. They have a hands-on, practical wisdom for everything. Instead of running a simulation, they rely on rules of thumb that have been tested by hundreds of real-world storms. They just know how thick a beam needs to be, not because a program told them, but because they've seen what happens when it isn't thick enough. This is a tradition of doing things right, with an incredible focus on the details. Every joint is cut to fit perfectly. Every nail is placed with a purpose. There's a level of personal pride and craftsmanship here that you just don't find in mass-produced buildings. The goal isn't just to pass inspection. The goal is to build something that will serve their family and their community for decades. We're talking about structures designed to last 20, 30 years or more, standing up to season after season of harsh weather. They use thicker framing and stronger joints specifically to resist warping and cracking over time. And here's the most amazing part. You might think this old-fashioned way of building would barely meet modern standards, but in many cases, it actually exceeds them. Building inspectors who work in Amish communities are often blown away by the quality. They see fasteners that are perfectly aligned and joints that are cleaner and stronger than what they see on typical construction sites. It's not about ignoring modern rules. It's about holding themselves to a higher standard, one that was set long before building codes were ever written down. And this obsessive focus on quality isn't just reserved for the main barn. It's applied to everything. On an Amish farm, the same windproof thinking goes into the smallest shed, the workshop, and the tallest silo. It's one consistent philosophy that covers the entire property. It's a deep-seated belief that if something is worth building, it's worth building to last for decades. So what does that actually look like? For starters, they almost always use thicker, beefier wood framing than a modern building code would ever require. Someone who worked with Amish crews described their framing as orderly and oversized. They're not just meeting the minimum standard. They're deliberately overbuilding for pure strength. The way they join those pieces of wood is also key. They often favor a hands-on approach, using hand tools for the finishing work. This gives them incredible control, resulting in tighter joints and a perfect fit. When every piece fits together flawlessly, there's no room for the structure to shift or weaken under pressure from the wind. And this attention to detail is almost unbelievable when you see it up close. One observer pointed out that on their metal roofs and walls, every single fastener is driven in a perfectly straight line. Not just mostly straight, perfectly. And each one is hammered in with the exact same amount of force, creating an identical dimple. Now, you might think that's just for looks, a sign of personal pride. But it's a clue to something much more important.